That's beautiful, Steve.
Such a great fucking tune, though.
Good evening! My name is Alex Campbell.
And my name's Meryl Streep.
And you're watching Examining the Expanse. So, season finale of season 2, Caliban's War. I thought that Holden, Naomi, the Rossi crew story, if it was just isolated without the other stuff, and you had like an extra half an hour on the setup, it'd be like a good just standalone horror action sci-fi movie.
Yeah, for sure. It's it's so interesting. This episode in particular and the dynamics and the it kind of reminded me of the sort of the Stargate archetype that the characters all fit. Right now, so in Stargate, right, it's a serial. It's kind of cheesy, and they all have their
it's the crew dynamics,
and they'll switch between. They'll have a situation, they'll throw a problem at them, and then you'll have the input from all the different.
And like the archaeological history stuff, and Daniel Jackson like, I know history.
It could be, and in this instance, it could be a person. It's a thinking thing. It's a plan. It's a blah blah blah. It's like, no, we just got to kill it. We're gonna blow it out the fucking airlock, and it's like blah blah blah. No, we can't do that.
They're all trying to problem solve. And it is refreshing also that this whole episode Holden is pinned and he's like the ticking clock and like the element of fucking emotional investment in the situation, and he does fuck all. He's just fucking dying. He's not the hero.
He's in the space every now and then we'll cut to him and he's sort of
slowly dying as time goes on. And then Prax, the plant guy, solves the problem.
He's so, you know what? Spoilers, I don't know, I keep saying that, spoilers. Assumably people have watched it.
They've watched all of it.
Yeah, he leaves, right?
And
it's actually a shame because he, in my mind, and this is a great example of that, he fits like that last bit that could be missing from the sort of Rossi crew.
If we give it a better food source that's easier to reach, we won't have to force it out. We lure it out.
Yeah, well, when he comes on board, you're like, oh, that's cool, a new member, and his fucking dynamic is completely different to the rest, and his personality is different, and he's the plant guy, so he's got his own specialized
juxtaposition to everybody else.
Yeah, against all the other people. You got the mechanic, and the pilot, and the tank, and the captain, and the plant guy.
And it's a little bit of a shame that he leaves.
Yeah, I don't know if he comes back at all, but he's probably not.
No, well, by time they're fucking he's off. I mean, maybe he could come back.
Yeah,
maybe.
His storyline did wrap up completely.
Yeah, he had a full arc.
What was her name, Mao? No, that's the evil guy. What was his daughter name? He's always yelling.
Julie Mao.
No, his daughter.
I don't know. Antiqua.
He's always yelling.
My daughter!
I'll cut it in here.
I keep thinking I'll tell May about this when I get home. Normally my story's about soybeans. She pretends to care.
What did you think of the end? Because you're always like, you want people to act very logical and evaluate the situation and then act upon what should be logically done. But he is very emotional with his whole daughter tied.
Well, he's got the conflict, right?
Yeah.
They've played on the conflict, and it's sort of, and again, it's reminiscent of the Daniel Jackson. There's an alternate side to this to everybody's perceptions about exactly what's going on. Right? His just happens to be based
around his daughter.
Was it my daughter? Was it a person? Blah, blah, blah.
And it's an interesting dynamic to set up this monster that they're all trying to kill. And he's like, but is it my daughter?
Thing is a living weapon. It's a killing machine.
It's not a machine.
It's not human.
It clearly was once.
Not anymore.
I'm gonna go down there. I'm gonna talk to
No, you're not.
But in saying that, I think they used that in the end to really great effect. I think you could interpret the way that he acted right at the end to either or. Was he actually waiting for a better time, or was he conflicted whether to get rid of the thing?
He looks at it and he's like, "Is it my daughter?" And then he makes the call. He's like, "No, I don't think it is." And then he chooses to fucking bait it, and they kill it. Alex says the fire up the barbecue line, which is the best one line.
Yeah, well then it pulls to the shot, right?
Yeah.
It's cradling the thing.
Slow motion. Yeah.
Firing up the barbecue.
Well, yeah, I think the point where it tips over is like Infinity War, when Quinn fucks up the whole like gauntlet plan, you know, when they have him and they're getting the gauntlet off, and he wrecks it, he fucks it all up because he gets emotionally involved in
which
his
is
girlfriend
annoying.
dying. Yeah.
Super annoying. There is nothing more annoying. And I've commented before, again, I love this show because, and you know, it's, if you think about it, right, to be in space, to be crewing a ship, to be doing anything in space, you've got to, you know, one, be able to make, like, decisions, but you've also got to be able to make good decisions.
Yeah.
You know?
And yeah, a lot of it is based on logic rather than emotional intent. But yeah, I think it's just because he didn't fuck it all up. He made the call, okay, yeah, no, let's fucking burn this thing. Let's destroy it. So yeah, it's not on the nose too much.
You could have easily, like, he could have held on to it and the thing could have knocked him off the ship, and you could have had a whole thing, and it goes on, and goes on, and goes on. And they didn't do that, and that's fine, that's great, you know?
Yeah. He just looked at it. Is it my daughter? Nah. Fuck it. The like political thriller, Tom Clancy, Avasarala stuff, it's not, I don't dislike any of it. It's always entertaining and like, I enjoy watching it play out, but it's never been why I'm here. I've always watched The Expanse for the crazy fucking sci-fi concepts. Once the protomolecule starts fucking going full out, that's when I was really like, whoa, this is amazing.
Yeah.
But yeah, I started liking Avasarala's character way more when she was pulled out of like her political thriller storyline and thrust into the unknown, and like
so did I very much. That's in like the next episode when they put her onto the Rossi and stuff.
And her and Bobby are escaping on Julie Mao's little ship, and like she's stroking out 'cause she's never been under like 5G, and the fish out of water. Like I get the badass female character archetype, and that's fine and it works and the actress is great. But once she's taken out of her element and thrown into shit, that's when I really was like,
she's a good character.
Watching her suffer.
Making all these fucking snide comments constantly. And
her power has been taken away from her and she's on the back foot now. She doesn't know what's happening. She knows nothing about combat or space travel.
Well, it was like in the previous, I believe it was the previous episode when they were going to Mao's ship, right? And she's fucking commenting about how much she hates space. And she's sort of like the Miller-esque.
Yeah. Miller was always that detective on series and hadn't stepped out in that wide world. And yeah, I just enjoy seeing her character suffer and die.
There's a maintenance crawl on the other side of that wall. It should lead us to the elevator shaft.
That is not going to work.
Right. You'd never make that climb.
Jesus Christ, not because I'm old. He's been shot.
Plus, she's really old.
I made a little note of something in the beginning when they're showing what happened in the previous episode, where the whole conflict about like the idea that you've got like a refugee ship, right, that needs to leave. It needs to leave. It can't stay where it is. Right?
Yeah.
And there's no humanity involved in the situation with the ships in orbit and stuff. They're like, no, you've got to stay there. So
we're all gonna fucking die.
They're just gonna blow these cunts out of the sky, right?
Yeah.
There's no humanity involved in that, and that's a theme that they play on through it's like with the Ring, you know, the refugees just wanna go. You know, they've been turned away from all the ports. It's interesting. There's sort of the show's really great at portraying scope of like concerns and decision making. Right. You've got the sort of smaller scope of like, you know, we're human beings and, you know, where we need help or whatever, right? And then you've got the larger scope where it's like, well, okay. Well, you've got the sort of mid-tier scope where it's like, well, we're just following orders, like all the people on the ships and all that sort of
Yeah,
stuff.
yeah,
And then
yeah.
you've got the larger scope, which, you know, that they wouldn't even be aware of anything at the bottom layer happening.
Yeah, they're just doing their thing and they're not concerned about the average person.
Yeah.
I like that little moment in this episode too with that electrician guy.
Yeah.
Bobby's like, are you willing to die for this? And he's like, no, I get like 40 grand a year. I'm an electrician. I don't know what's happening in the grander political fucking scheme here.
I said to you it would have been fine for me to watch Bobby tear this guy apart, like
Beat the
limb
shit
by
out of
limb.
it. Yeah.
I'm an electrician.
You're about to lay down your life for an unworthy master. It's not an honorable death, no matter what they tell you.
Bobby's such a fucking badass.
She is.
She's one of my favourite characters. I love
She's
Bobby.
pretty great. The actress is great too.
Yeah.
You can easily see her beating the shit out of everyone.
She's a total and utter badass, and
Yeah, and she's gotten to this point now where like she's past all of her like political drama and trying to like.
well, she's freed herself, or has been freed from the sort of political machinations.
Now she's just Avasarala's bodyguard.
But you know, she gets thrown back into it.
But then a whole nother thing.
Then a whole nother thing happens. I would have liked to have seen her sort of gallivant about with.
Yeah,
Avasarala.
presumably that will happen. Well, her gallivanting will happen more so. Because season 4 she was like more like fucking drama kind of stuff rather than just straight up action.
Yeah.
She does get a few good moments though.
Oh well, I like where they were heading with it, sort of getting involved in the underbelly and the sort of Mars falling apart and all this sort of
all
stuff.
the drugs and whatnot.
Yeah, it's all
that was
really
cool.
cool.
Then the third kind of storyline within this episode is the UN ship and the Martian ship going down to the crater on Venus to see what the fuck is going on.
You mentioned the logical thing, right? The sort of logical decision making that happens quite often.
Yeah.
And they actually address that.
Yeah.
The characters, the two sort of, we've had these, I guess the guy working for the Earth government, not the Australian guy, the other guy, he's like the science
commander.
minister or something.
Yeah.
Right. They sort of like they've had their disagreements going there and all this sort of stuff, but then they got there and they're scientists, right? They're both scientists.
Yeah.
And it's sort of, and they address what would normally happen, which would be they would have a prolonged sort of disagreement and it would stall.
Yeah,
like there would be no decisions being made and all this sort of stuff.
They're both kind of aware of the tropes of how that relationship plays out.
This is where you say, you know, oh no, we can't do that because blah 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 blah, and this is where you say da da da, and then they laugh and they fucking just throw all the caution to the wind.
Yeah, let's check this thing out. I think the Martians are checking it out. We gotta check it out.
This is where you say we have to descend so we can get close for our sensors to get meaningful readings.
And then you point out that we'd be at the edge of what our ship is rated for, and that our Martian shadow is probably going to shoot at us.
And then the proto-molecule just fucking completely disattaches their ship, and the visual of it is really interesting and
really
different.
interesting, yeah.
I haven't seen much else in sci-fi or film in general that looks like that. And it's interesting just how like methodical and mathematical the proto-molecule is. It's just like, I can use this.
Yeah,
what am I gonna like? I'll use this part for this and
disassemble it to its individual base components.
Yeah.
It is. Yeah, it's super
Then
interesting.
presumably like a lot of that stuff went into the making of the ring. Because it disassembles it all and integrates what it needs, and then it becomes a jellyfish. And then I'm a portal to another world.
Well, it plays the proto-molecule plays the sort of the two sides, the biological, mechanical sort of interplay, right?
Yeah. It goes through a lot of things, because at the beginning it's like this infectious disease radiation thing, and this episode it's more like the horror villain, and then it becomes this gateway, and then it's like this detective entity kind of trying to figure out what happened to this ancient race.
Well, the proto-molecule is actually the ancient race that wants to take over or use the more ancient races stuff for its own.
It's so fucking Stargate.
Yeah, it is.
The ancient fucking race that built the fucking gate system that no longer exists.
Yeah. Sure.
It just takes 3 seasons to set up the premise of Stargate.
not one episode.
No, we need 3 seasons.
It is super interesting. Well, all that stuff gets really interesting.
Yeah, it all changes and evolves as it goes on. It's not just, the White Walkers. The White Walkers were the White Walkers. They didn't change, they didn't evolve, the tone around them didn't shift.
Don't get me started on fucking Game of Thrones.
Game of Thrones,
Don't get me started on Game of Thrones.
That's an enjoyable watch.
No.
All 8 seasons.
I saw an interesting comment, right? Someone remarked about the fact how almost nobody talks about Game of Thrones anymore.
Well, yeah.
But like if it was, if it had 8 seasons of pure awesomeness and came to a really great conclusion or even a mediocre conclusion.
Yeah, a fulfilling conclusion.
People would
be talking about it. Yeah.
People would still be talking
you
about
constantly see video essays about Breaking Bad and The Sopranos, analysing the story and how it unfolded and played out. And Game of Thrones is just you need to start digging through the mud.
It's a flopping fish, slightly suffocating. It's interesting the sort of cultural impact that the directions that a story can take.
And they dropped the ball. I've seen an interview with the writers of the book, who I believe wrote this episode. They're huge in the writers' room, and a bunch of the finales they've actually penned themselves, which is great because all the changes from the book, you can't be it's they're changing these novels. No, it's the writers. They're this is a different medium. It's not on the page. It's on the screen.
Is there conflict about changing?
No, just in general. You know how people well, in the book Tom Bombadil was here. Well, isn't Tom Bombadil in the film?
Could you imagine a half an hour or 45-minute sequence of Tom Bombadil singing, right, with the river lady or whatever, and
nothing to do with the ring. The story just pauses.
The old forest and Old Man Willow, and he puts them to sleep by singing a song, and then more songs
and poems and songs.
And then so Tom Bombadil comes and he sings a song to put Old Man Willow to sleep, right? And then they go to the Barrows, right? And then they get all messed up, and then Tom Bombadil comes back and sings another song. Can you imagine?
Yeah, well, you got this pace, right? You set up the ring, the evil ring. Now we need to destroy this, and then it would just pause for 40 fucking minutes. And nothing would happen.
A total segue. Instead, this is a tangent now, Lord of the Rings. Instead, you've got the sort of, they're going through the landscapes of the ever increasingly far from Bag End and well, what's it called? What's the place called? Hobbiton.
Yeah,
right?
the Shire.
The Shire and all that sort of stuff. And you've got that beautiful shot where they're in the sort of the wheat field or whatever. And this is the father's son. I've gone from home, Mr. Frodo. And then all this sort of stuff. And then they meet Merry and Pippin. And they sort of establish a bit of, their scallywags, and then they fall down the thing, and then they do they're picking the mushrooms and stuff, and then they're gonna hide, and then it's bam, ring race. And
it's a road trip, and it has a pace, and there are beats that it hits. Great.
Yeah.
I just rewatched that fucking 18-hour documentary on the making of Lord of the Rings. Fucking crazy. Then I started watching the Hobbit one. I found the Hobbit extended edition, which I'd never seen for obvious fucking reasons, on eBay for $50, and it has the same 18-hour documentary. Yeah, it's amazing.
Yeah.
They just straight up this whole thing was fucked. Originally, Guillermo del Toro was going to direct it, and he dropped out, and the studios wanted them to commence shooting on this certain date. And then Peter Jackson was just kind of I'll do it.
Yeah.
But then he looked at they had 2 years of planning, and at this point there's 2 months until they need to start filming, And Peter Jackson was like, this is a Guillermo del Toro film.
Well, you can imagine, right, if you've watched, not The Labyrinth, Pan's Labyrinth, right, you can imagine the visuals.
Oh, it would have been fucking amazing.
But you can imagine the work that Del Toro's done already on the visuals, and it would have had that aesthetic, and it's like, that's not Peter Jackson.
Yeah, completely different.
He can't do that.
Yeah.
He can't do anything with that.
He can't make...
So you got to throw it all out. You gotta fucking
which
start
is what
again.
he fucking did.
Well, I've seen and it's just like he was running himself into the ground. You got to give him props.
I do not begrudge Peter Jackson at all for the Hobbit trilogy completely falling flat, because he's just in the moment, running lines. They're all like improvising, and like the way it happens is really fucking fascinating.
It is fascinating. Well, it's again, one of my favourite all-time documentaries is the making of Alien 3.
Yeah, that was the same fucking thing. They're like hammering out the script on the set. Like, well, just film that, film this.
Well, the second director or whatever, I wanted to make like a wooden planet with like
nobody knows what they want to do. They all have all these different opinions. And then the studio's just like, well, we need to film it.
We need to do it. Wait. If that sounds like some crazy off the wall idea that we're not interested in. Right? Nobody's interested in that. There's no justification. There's no precedent for anybody being interested in that. This is not the medium for you to do some crazy idea. Right? This is an aliens movie. Right? It's really that simple.
Alien movie.
Well, so The Hobbit. I think that The Hobbit, the first Hobbit, was actually pretty good.
Yeah, the first one was good.
And
the second one, the dragon stuff, is actually really good. Like, Bilbo and Schmog is amazing. But then, I don't know, all the Legolas stuff starts happening, and the romance, and the elven bitch, and like the dwarf, and then the third one is just like, they filmed nothing and made it up in the computer. It's just a CGI nightmare. It's a battle. It's like a 2-hour battle, and it's like, what the fuck?
It's just, it is CGI nightmare. I don't know whether it was rushed. Well, it was rushed.
It was definitely rushed.
We know that it was rushed, right? We've talked about this before, right? The fidelity. There's some sort of disconnect with the fidelity of like CGI in some movies, and then the fidelity. So The Expanse, right? This episode, I don't know how much this episode cost, right? But the fidelity of the monster, will live on forever, right? It looks good enough. That
interesting, different design.
Its fidelity is high enough, and it blends into the.
You believe it.
You believe it, right?
Yeah.
But then like you juxtapose that. Say Billy Connolly being superimposed onto whatever the dwarf commander's name's face.
It's about blending it, which Lord of the Rings did so well with like the models and the live action sets.
Well, how much of that was CGI though? Like the battle, say with a battle, right? So you'll get maybe 40 or 50 horsemen or something.
Right? And just expand. And the background stuff, ideally.
You'll copy and paste it, right? You'll copy and paste the second. So like the Uruk-hai, right, at Helm's Deep, you would have copied and pasted squares of Uruk-hai to make up the thing, right? And you intersperse that with shots of real actors.
If you've been like 2 shots of CGI in a row, cut back to live action. About blending it all, and once it's all CGI, it just looks like a video game. In saying
that, there are a couple of moments in, say, the Two Towers that we remarked when we watched it last that we remarked the CGI actually didn't look that great.
Well, it's 20 years old now.
Yeah, I know.
Well, 2001. 2001 is the Fellowship. So 2021 is the 20th anniversary of the Fellowship of the Ring, which is crazy. 20 years. When do we get old, Steve?
Our time is running out. Our time is running out.
Yes.
I feel thin.
Like butter spread over too much bread.
But when was bloody Starship Troopers made?
97?
90 something.
Yeah,
right?
yeah.
And like you watch the massive attack on the Mormon colony, right? And you watch the bugs, and the bugs fucking look amazing. The CGI bugs, right, in the middle of the day. Which would be arguably the hardest time to try and blend.
20-something years old.
Right, and it looks fucking fantastic. It looks, and it's funny because then you move on to the sequels, right, and the the bugs look less and less believable as you move on. It's just
pouring less and less money into it, I guess.
It's got to be budget, and it's got to be all that sort of stuff. But I don't know, because the Two Towers had a serious budget, right?
It was pretty big, but when you watch it, they kept on remarking in the making of documentary, this is the biggest low budget film. And Peter Jackson was this unknown noir filmmaker in New Zealand, and a lot of it was filmed in car parks and dubbed, and very quick, and the shooting race, so it had a big budget, but at the same time it was a little independent film. It's really weird because it wasn't Lucasfilm or Hollywood, it was Weta Digital. It's these weird New Zealand people making a film, and in car parks and fucking
It's amazing that even happened. In this sort of suffocating atmosphere of Hollywood.
It's just a fucking bolt of lightning out of nowhere.
Well, we've talked about again, I guess the third Hobbit movie would be a great example. It's what happens when you're given unlimited budget and unlimited scope, and you can just do anything that you want, right? And
I think budget constraints are a big thing. And that's something I hope they don't do with The Expanse. They did it with Game of Thrones. They just gave them unlimited money.
Yeah.
And then you sit back and relax and become content, and it all falls away, the artistry of it. You don't have to try and focus to work with what you've got. So I hope they don't just start throwing fucking too much money at The Expanse.
Well, I think Amazon is the sort of company that really likes to keep track of what's being spent, why is it being spent, is that necessary? They're sort of a very penny pinching company, so I expect that will remain the case.
Yeah, especially if it doesn't blow up Game of Thrones and it just still kind of stays in a...
Well, I don't know how popular it is right now.
It's slowly building. But not enough people watched it.
Yeah, it's a
just
damn shame.
Sci-fi nerds, I guess. But the average person hasn't sat down and watched The Expanse.
There are a lot of sci-fi nerds.
There are a fuckload of sci-fi nerds.
An absolute metric shit ton.
Yeah.
Well, we'll see what happens when Dune comes out, right? How many fucking real ultra mega sci-fi nerds actually exist.
Basically in conclusion,
Lord of the Rings is a really great series.
Lord of the Rings trilogy is one of the greatest pieces of film ever. And it's interesting to see how The Hobbit fell on its face.
It's funny, actually. My dad, right? He read me the Lord of the Rings books when I was a kid.
Yeah.
And I have discussions with him about the discrepancies of Lord of the Rings. And it used to be that I'd sit there and I'd sort of bitch about, this was different from the book and this was different from the book.
Yeah.
But then, in recent times, I've come back around to appreciate, how not only that it happened, that it got made, but it got made the way that it did.
Yeah.
And he'd be like, oh well, they're missing this bit, but then I'd throw back, well, okay, what about the Battle of Helm's Deep, or when bloody Gandalf in Moria, right? And he's tumbling down the fucking and it shows the thing, right? Well, what about this, epic fucking moment, right? What about this and what about this?
Forever now. Yeah, and I don't know. They're two completely different mediums. You can't put the Lord of the Rings page for page on the screen. It wouldn't work.
No.
Aragorn has no arc. In the book, he's like, I'm the king. I'm always the fucking king. I'm the boss. He doesn't change. There's no evolution of the film. You can't do that. The Council of Elrond goes on for 2 fucking chapters. There's 30 characters introduced that argue and bitch that are never fucking seen of again.
Yeah.
There's so many fucking things that wouldn't work. We watched that cut, remember how they cut it to the book?
Yeah.
And they got all the Sam and Frodo stuff from Two Towers and jammed it together, then all the Merry and Pippin stuff, and it doesn't flow, it doesn't have the pace.
No, well, I mean, this, probably this episode of The Expanse would, if you took the 3 concurrent storylines and sort of jam them one after the other. You go up, you go down, you go up, you go down, you go up, you go down, right? And that's not, you can't do that.
You keep a flow and a pace, which is fine. It works in the book, but you can't have
it's a fucking book.
1,000 songs in the movie. You can't have Aragorn stop and go.
Yeah, it's tight. Come on.
Every fucking scene. You can't have that.
We'll say, it's And I think, I think the first Dune, the first attempt at Dune.
What, David Lynch or the guy who tried to do it and didn't get it done?
David Lynch.
Yeah, okay. Yeah,
I think the first movie is a great example of how hard it actually is to try and be as far. The more sort of abstract the book is.
Yeah.
And the Dune series is incredibly fucking abstract.
Moments. Yeah.
It is as far away from
conventional.
As far away from like a movie-ready screenplay as you can possibly get.
Yeah.
I think the upcoming Dune movie will be the test to really sort of pushing the boundaries of what you can do in doing that, and I'll be interested to see what they do cut out. Right?
Yeah,
they do change.
Yeah,
because
they might add in
the way that you handle internal monologue.
Yeah, you need to convert that all into dialogue somehow.
Right? It's like, as you say, you can't just go, well, here's the book, make a movie out of it.
Just have a scene of Paul standing there with monologue running on it. But yeah, a big part of the problem with the David Lynch Dune was like he was filming it as like a 5-hour fucking movie.
Yeah.
And he kept on running over budget and over schedule, and the studio took it off of him and cut it into a 2-hour movie, which you can't do with Dune. Like I remember the first kind of act, I was like, and then Paul gets into the desert, and it's like, my dear. And they show like a montage of him becoming like my dear.
Did they actually?
Yeah, in the film, and it's like, that's the book. How is this a montage?
That's the whole book.
That's the book, and you've just shown it like a. Because then you need to get to the end battle. Like you can't tell it in 2 hours.
Well, it takes. Again, we're watching this kid become a man. Right,
the most crazy, epic, archetypical hero's journey ever. He goes from boy prince to fucking seeing every version of the future, and analysing it and trying to sway the universe.
You got to cram in all the fucking sci-fi concepts that are put in, and all the philosophical sort of like all the memories of memories. Right, stuff that's happening.
All the ecological stuff about how environments react in deserts.
How the Fremen's culture works and how they survive, and there's still
drugs and psychedelics
and their rituals and their sort of the way that the stills work and their sort of religious relationship to the desert and the worms and blah 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 blah.
It's just like 5-second montage.
But again. To sort of shit on Lynch a little bit, right? You can't be a filmmaker and have Hollywood say, okay, well, we want you to make this film.
Yeah.
Right? And then be like, oh, well, I'm gonna fucking
5 hours.
I'm gonna make it 5 hours, and I'm gonna constantly go over budget. And I'm gonna constantly do it. You can't do that. It doesn't work. Right?
Yeah.
And that's
You're not doing a good job. You got to deliver the film, and the film's supposed to be delivered.
And that's why Villeneuve is such a great director, because I think he understands that.
Yeah, and he would have planned it out.
I don't think there were any complaints with Blade Runner other than it didn't make any fucking money, right, from Hollywood. I don't think there were any sort of, it's too fucking long, he went over budget like 1,000,000 times, No,
yeah, he delivered the product when he fucking needed to. It's funny too, they keep on asking David Lynch, because they have like hours and hours of extra footage. They're like, well, do your director's cut, go back in and make the movie you wanted to make. And he's like, nah,
I'm fucking done.
Fuck you all. I'm doing my weather reports. I don't want to touch Dune with a fucking stick.
I don't blame you. I don't fucking blame you.
Yeah, that was the first time he fucking kind of blundered in his career and dropped the ball.
But I think he wasn't used to the sort of
big Hollywood scheme.
He
was like a surrealistic body horror fucking director.
It's 3 separate skills, right? It's how to make a movie, right? Like just how to put things on a screen, right? That people want to watch, right? That's one. Right?
Yeah.
And that's the sort of core. That's all movie makers, right? And he knows how to fucking do that. That's fine, for his whatever audience.
Yeah, he's niche. He's surrealistic. He's Jasper and I.
You two, not bad.
Jay from Red Letter Media.
Right, so he knows how to do that. But then you've got the 2 other skills. It's like, okay, well, how to take a book and put it into a movie.
Yeah,
That's the sort of Peter Jackson thing. Right?
Yeah.
And then how to work with Hollywood.
Yeah. Deal with the system in place.
Not only how to deal with the system, but how to deal with a budget, like a large budget.
Yeah.
And
the finances and logistics and plannings and fuck, it'd be a nightmare.
And he's not. That's not him. That's not him. We know it's not him.
Yeah.
You know?
He's like a painter. He's like this weird surrealistic.
Cutting the thing with the stick, where he's doing the latest video that he put up or whatever with the stick. Have you seen that? Yeah. Cut that in there.
You set the tab on your heart, and you get a feeling. You get a feeling for what you're focusing on. Then you set the tab on your brain, and you get a thinking of what is going on with what you're focusing upon. And you put those two things together, and it can help you indicate the next move. But don't really need a checking stick, because every human being has what they call intuition.
I don't fucking know what the fuck happened. It looked like...
You feel it in your heart. And then you feel it in your thoughts.
But
this needs this.
But it looked like he was like burning. He'd previously been like burning the fucking... The canvas that he'd been working on.
I'd love to see him on the set of Dune with that.
He's in the background. So it's it's... I'm usually bagging Hollywood for being like the sort of the tyrants of like making a movie, but you just can't. You have to. Not only is it a business. I'm sure some execs and some people actually give a shit.
Yeah.
Right, like you wouldn't have shows coming out of fucking Amazon.
Yeah.
If there weren't people high up who gave a shit about like making good stuff.
An actual piece of art.
And it's like, that's how HBO gets away with having so many great fucking shows.
Yeah.
Like they've got, I can't even list the amount of great stuff that they
Well,
release.
they changed the game. The Sopranos changed what television was. Before The Sopranos, television was like blue heelers and like serialized and dumb.
I don't know that fucking name. I fucking love
I seen a box set of JB Hi-Fi the other day. It was like $300. It was like 150 discs. I was like, what the fuck? How long did blue heelers go on for?
Fucking a long time. So it's always interesting, and we'll
see what happens.
Well, it's like Disney, right? Disney's actually the opposite. It's not. They are the fucking
corporate fucking bean counting fucking.
They just got this. They've just got this stranglehold on fucking Star Wars, right?
Yeah. And they don't give a fuck. They're like, get it out. Get some fucking money.
They're choking everybody that comes into work.
Yeah. Firing people. Firing. Yeah.
Oh, well, we don't want this, and no, change that. Oh, you don't like that. Well, you're fucking going. Oh, well,
in the middle of production.
And it's just it's
throwing out shit films.
It's like they don't know how to plan. They don't know how to and it's like it's not. Let's set aside like the idea of like planning how your movie's going to play out.
Yeah,
having a business plan.
Yeah.
How do we work with directors, right, that want to do one thing?
Yeah.
And how do we have a vision that we want to happen?
Yeah.
But that services the people that want to watch our movies, right, or want to watch this franchise and all this sort of stuff, right? How do we do any of that in sort of a business savvy way, right? That makes sense, that reduces friction.
Yeah. And then like if you create a good fucking movie, people will be talking about it in 30 years.
For ages.
Yeah. It can change the fucking cultural landscape if it's that fucking good.
If it's sanitized, it's like. How do you get from fucking doing, the Disney classic stuff, right? Like, can you imagine trying to pitch like a hand-drawn animated thing about a lion and its cub and all this sort of stuff these days with musicals and shit? Right, like hand-drawn. Oh, why can't we just do CGI, right? It's like, They sort of they were known for pioneering stuff.
Yeah,
right?
Completely and utterly.
And you can be a giant corporation, like a fucking giant corporation, like Amazon.
Yeah.
And still, still
have your toe in that artistry and think about the final product, not just the paycheck and the schedule and the release date, but the actual final piece.
It's just insane. Again, there's always this tussle between director and creation and budget and production and And it's like, J.J. Abrams is actually a really good director.
Yeah, he knows how to direct action.
Right, he knows how to make a movie.
Yeah.
Right. And
I think they just needed to sit down and get someone to write those fucking movies and plan it out.
They just need to do literally anything other than what they did.
Which was just like The Hobbit, but spur of the moment, now this is happening, let's do it. Instead of sitting down and fucking Tolkien spent 12 years writing Lord of the Rings. There was 2 years of pre-production on fucking Lord of the Rings before they fucking filmed anything.
Yes.
It's like, if you got Star Wars, if you're making a trilogy, sit down for 6 fucking years.
Well, it's
plan it out.
It's that whole fucking... It's the whole deadlines, and we're gonna release 6 Star Wars movies a year, and it's like you see it in the fucking games industry too. It's the same thing, right? And it's like there are quite well-off companies that do the right thing, as far as a business plan.
Yeah.
And then there are other companies that just keep vomiting out stuff.
Yeah.
Right, and they're not planning anything.
Yeah.
Right, their plan is a bunch of dates on a calendar.
Yeah, then they got to meet those dates with whatever.
And it just boggles the mind, right?
Well, it's just about the bottom dollar, I guess. They're making profit from that formula, so they don't give a fuck.
It is, right? It is and it isn't, because to me, right, it's not good business sense.
Yeah,
it's not. You're not actually thinking about the bottom dollar, kind of, sorta, right?
Yeah, in the long scheme, you're not. In the short game, you are.
It's like they could have, they could have planned out. They wanted to plan out 20 years worth of Star Wars, 1 movie a year, and television series, and and they didn't think about it. They didn't even consider anything about it. Right? They were just like, we want to do this thing, make it fucking happen, make it fucking now. Why is it not happening now?
This guy, that guy, hire all these guys.
Shitting out a fucking turd every year, right? Shitting out a turd every year for 3 years until you can't shit out, until nobody else wants to eat your turds anymore.
You're shitting blood, and the audience is like, please stop. Please stop. We can't do this anymore.
Please stop. What's her name? McKellen or something?
Oh, Kathy Kennedy. The president of fucking Lucasfilm.
Is she still... She's gone, isn't she?
I think her contract ends next year, so they gotta fuck her off. I mean, the amount of my money and fans that she's fucking lost.
Well, she's almost single-handedly, from what we can see...
from the outside looking in.
She's almost single-handedly killed the franchise.
Yeah.
Nobody wants it.
Yeah, I think she's got involved in storytelling, which isn't her thing. She doesn't know about storytelling. She's a producer. She would be the financier and the planning, the schedules and the dates. But for some reason she was like, well, maybe Luke Skywalker. It's like, no!
No. Maybe you fuck off.
Yeah.
Let me direct.
Hire a writer. How do you handle the schedule?
I like to imagine that Kathleen Kennedy was writing. We'd get a script, the screenplay and the script, and she would sit there herself
Change it.
and change it. And it would and it wouldn't be an iterative process.
Yeah.
It would be there's your fucking script.
Yeah, we're filming this Monday.
Fucking do it. Fucking do it. Which is funny. And then old mate came on and fucked up the
Well, imagine Lord of the Rings, right? If they got Peter Jackson for the first one to plan it all out, and then he made the Fellowship of the Ring, and then for the Two Towers they got fucking
J.J. Abrams.
Yeah, who had no connection or conversation with Peter Jackson. Just made a different film. And the third one they're like, well, what do we do now?
We just hire the third.
This isn't the story. Well, the second one was the third one. It killed off the main villain and killed Luke and was weird.
JJ had to try and save the third one, right?
And he didn't do a very good job. It was just a clusterfuck.
Oh, I'm sure
it was a mess.
He did the best he could.
Yeah.
Right.
We'll bring Palpatine back.
I haven't watched any of them. I've watched the first one
Yeah.
like twice.
We should sit down and
I'm not
watch
gonna fucking watch it. I wouldn't even be interested in commentating on them because everybody's fucking commentated about how shit fun it
I'm
is.
done talking about
Just fuck Star Wars.
Yeah,
right?
Star Wars is dead and buried.
You know,
my
it's-
childhood.
It's the hot potato. It's good. How long is, because of these actions, how long is Star Wars going to be a hot potato that nobody wants?
Yeah.
You know, you're going to be what sort of like director, you know, that's a good director would be like, oh yeah, you know, I want to throw myself into the fucking Sarlacc pit.
It'd take like a good decade of good fucking material to actually get the fucking universe back on the good side with people. It's like, how many times can you run it through the mud? Like, you got the original trilogy, that's 3 good movies, alright. Then the prequels, they were fucking shit. You got 3 bad movies. Then you got the sequels, right? 3 fucking shit movies. So you got 3 good movies and 10 fucking shit movies.
4 shit movies for the... Because I got Solo as well.
Yeah, and Rogue One.
Rogue One, yeah.
So you got 3 good movies and like 10 terrible ones. Like, how long can you continue to do that and still think this is a cash cow?
It's amazing. It's amazing how you can fuck up so bad. Well, it's like the fucking the DC, right? The juxtaposition between DC and Marvel.
Yeah.
It's you know, and in DC's case, it was sticking with a director.
Yeah, that wasn't working. And trying to rush the process.
Oh yeah, well,
Marvel like slowly built into the Avengers.
We're gonna do it now. Marvel's fucking getting ahead of us. We need a fucking thing. We need a fucking now. Zack Snyder. And it's like.
And it was shit.
It was fucking shit. Like,
the next one was shit.
You keep doing the same thing and it continues to be
fail.
shit.
Yeah.
You know, and it just fucking, and then they're doing Suicide Squad 2. Did they do Suicide Squad 2? No, that's Birds of Prey, isn't it? Which was shit as well.
Just like, what's her name? Harvey Weinstein?
Harvey Weinstein.
Harley Quinn. I haven't seen those movies.
No.
We watched part of Batman vs Superman.
And it had some potential in it, right?
The Batman stuff was good, but then the rest of it was just like, what the fuck is happening?
Martha! Why did you say that name? What? What the fuck is happening? What did you just say? Who's Martha? Why are you both saying Martha while staring longingly at each other's Martha?
What's their mums who named Martha?
That's the fucking... Can you imagine if they didn't say Martha, what would have happened?
They would have
Killed each other.
But Martha, that's what changed it.
Martha! Poor Ben Affleck, he was so fucking tired.
Yeah, he knew it was a shit show. They like contractually obligated to do like 3 of them. You're like, oh, can we get this over and done?
It's like X-Men, right? With fucking, what's her face? The shape changer?
Yeah.
What's her name? What's her fucking name?
Oh, fucking...
Jennifer Lawrence.
Yeah.
Right? She's contractually...
Yeah, I want to do like 4 of them. Like, I don't want to do
What's her character's name? Contractually obligated.
Yeah.
Doesn't even want to wear the fucking... I guess she wore the proper like makeup and stuff in the suit in the first one.
Yeah.
And then the rest is
just her. Yeah, I don't want to be here. What's my line?
Lied. That's the extended edition.
Yeah, basically in conclusion, this was a good episode. But Adam Savage pulled me out.
Fucking Adam Savage.
You ruined the Expanse for me, Adam
Nobody wanted
Savage.
to see you. It's like breaking the 4th wall in the Expanse. After this, I'm done.
I was in the moment. I was fucking watching the show and then Adam Savage pops out.
I love super geek Adam Savage.
I love Adam Savage.
He's so
but he
funny,
shouldn't
right?
have been in this episode.
Oh no.
He doesn't deserve.
You should have been in the episode.
Yeah, I should have.
You need to release an edition where you superimpose your face.
What's my
on
line?
Line.
Alright, thank you for watching. Remember about it. Like, subscribe, comment, share, go, flash around, finish, and all the boy thing. Good night.
It's slowly becoming unintelligible.
A rambling podcast, not at all.